When the colonizers came to our country, they came and robbed us of our right and our land. They came and built themselves beautiful palaces, while our people starve and die. They have irrigated their fields with the blood of our people. No, no, but our people have resisted their colonial rule, and now they don't know what to do. Things are falling apart, right in Pretoria, right in Windhoek. Now see them now, the days are numbered for sure. The days are numbered for sure. Whether they like it or not, they have got to quit someday. We're gonna force them to leave our land. Yeah, the days are numbered for sure. The winter of freedom is blowing. Yeah, and the days are numbered for sure. The days are numbered, oh yeah. History has proved that nothing can stop the oppressed people to gain their goal of freedom. When they came, they built themselves glittering palaces on the skeletons of our people. They wine and dined while our people died and starved. Yeah. They have irrigated their fields with the blood of our people, but our people have resisted the rule, yeah, and now they don't know what to do. Things are falling apart, right in Pretoria, right in Windhoek. Now see them now, the days are numbered for sure. The days are numbered for in our country. The days are numbered for sure. Yeah. In our land, in our land, in our land. Yeah. The days are numbered in Namibia, the days are counted. Yeah. Oh no, yeah. Oh, the days are numbered for sure. The days are numbered. The days are numbered for sure.
They make this mistake of saying that SWAPO is the sole representative. That comes from ignorance. Now, when you employ a man like John Stevens, he will make this known to the Americans. You see, so the Americans will get to know the situation here.
What does John Stevens want in return from you?
Well, they want to do business here after independence.
This giving yourself to the whites will become a burden, as if you were carrying the sun on your back. That's what another Herero chief was warned when he made a disastrous deal with the German colonists 90 years ago. Today, Chief Kapuo already lives behind a security fence. Black nationalists say he's sold out too. His bodyguards sleep in a tent behind the house. The precautions don't stem from paranoia. There have already been attempts on the chief's life. At the Sunday morning service at the Lutheran Church in Windhoek's Black Township, Katatura, there were Hereros and Ovambos, Damaras and Namas. The Lutheran Church claims 300,000 members throughout the territory, in a total population of less than 1 million. The church has often been in conflict with the South African authorities. Its leaders have consistently demanded South Africa's withdrawal.
What's the difference between delegates at Turnhalle getting funds from people who support the way they're going about it and SWAPO getting funds from the OAU or Russia or wherever? What's the difference?
The difference is that SWAPO is an organization, and the funds are going to an organization and not to individuals, as in this case by the Turnhalle delegates.
You're saying the Turnhalle delegates are corrupt?
I would say they are corrupt, and I would not trust them as the future leaders, because they have already now proved that we can't trust them.
Hotels and cafes are now generally open to all races, provided they can pay. But it's still only the blacks who get arrested by the South African police for breaking the pass laws. In Windhoek, blacks now use the same municipal park as whites. But up country, Europeans rebelled when they discovered that sharing a park meant swimming in the same pool as well. The pool had to be closed.
Thy kingdom come, thy will be.
And in one small nursery school, there was another pointer to the way things could go.
Give us this day our daily bread.
When the Catholic Church decided to admit a black child to one of its schools, the white administration cut off its education subsidy.
Deliver us from evil. Amen.
Despite the hiccups, Dirk Mudge insists that whites are ready for change. Every weekend, Mudge flies off to seek support for the new constitution he's steered through the Turnhalle. He points out that since each ethnic community will retain control of its own affairs, there's little to fear.
Dames en heren, u twee LWV's het hier so baie nuwe paaie in die omgewing gemaak word. En ek is dankbaar om hier te wees.
What appeals to every ethnic group, including the whites, is that decisions at the national level will be taken only by consensus. Every group has the power of the veto. Government must be by multiracial agreement.
What do you think about people like Dirk Mudge? Is he a man to trust?
I think that Dirk Mudge is one of those people in the Turnhalle that I would trust. If he could get the chance to be himself. But he is under such a pressure from the South African.
There were widespread suspicions that the side of Dr. Hage Geingob had access to resources which appeared they were using to induce delegates to vote for them.
I am not a corrupt person. I am not involved in money laundering.
If the minister wants to get paid bribes, you pay him bribes.
I challenge you that it received monies.
I'll show you the bank statements.
Have you seen
the bank statements here?
You need 70,000 US.
If you speak to a number of people about that, you will end up in
Now, if Mr. Namibia was voting neutral, then the whole 2017 SWAPO Congress is questionable. If national resources were used to advance the interests of a particular candidate, that's a serious violation of Namibian laws. The Namibian people trusted SWAPO as a liberation movement, but the Fish Road saga has definitely damaged the SWAPO brand in the minds of the Namibian people.
So the media, comrades and friends, before I embark upon my statement, I would like to ask you all to stand up and observe a minute of silence in memory of our leaders, such as Samuel Maharero. The war of liberation started here in Okahanja, when the German colonialists asked him that they wanted he, Mabebange he, Ovahara etu, Maharero Quate Dolo Tate, Oroshuana Sheti Harian Paco, Kovaza Zaya Chami, in a Bubada Komahiwe indeed. Oro Tate Kalian Bakovata, Quadvada Komahia. It is Chaturu, Muputio Gango. Is it Turu Monfitu? Obaya Tifana Maharero, Obaya Tifana Hendrik Vetboy, Atifana Naharia Mingana, Atifana Madmea Demfayo, Atifana Ipupia Shirongo, Hatudiburu Kama Penda Fure, Amabatameko Kusa, Okusa Tarire, Edu Erira Namibia. One generation, your comrade de Dahasangura Iran Tarapa. This generation here, they followed Madumea Demfayo, the Aleria Vingana, Vertiboy, Hendrik Vertiboy, Natate Kuru Maharero. Omene, what generation your youth, your Ikapasinga on. They take over exactly the same footsteps of our Maharero, our revolutionary Hendrik Vertiboy, the Haleria Fingana, Ipubuya Shirongo Madumea Demfayo. They continue to must go on. And I would also like the Ministry of Education to make a statue in the front of the University of Namibia, because these men brought the education system when we came back from exile. There was about education here in the Bantu states, but he destroyed. Congratulations. Nobody recovered Angola. Thank you.
Well, I call upon all the Namibians to respect our elders, to respect His Excellency, President Haki Geigo, and all our ministers, and to ensure that the peace and stability prevails in every age of the Republic of Namibia.
On the 21st of March, I will be willingly hand over the instruments of power to Hage Geigo. No quarrel, no fight, Can I tell you confidentially? The last 6 days, I had left the presidential residence, making it away. You know, when you leave, you have to allow things to be put, in order.
Zia. Ukamba gota kazi ya merero, je pangero ndituna ngashingei. Ndeo mvura njia zako, ombungundo da pitimo, dinashano hidetu, da kufapweta dikarandi fakiwana iri no iri, tuna no kuri no ministeri ndoka da hivi inekerwa, takutikucha odari o mfuthi dayaka, kwa shiwana, na ipurena na kucha, sigo unake, toka karato ganja, ewijoe juthemba we hogororo, kongundu omfuthi, tairerwa ka futhi, ongundu taiyaka eriko joshiwana. Shoturinge oturimo shirongo shinu uyamba. Okwaya atupopi kucha oshino kawe nongoporo, shino matsa no mvura no kuri, ndesi gopo mpano, okawe nongoporo ketu hono, kakeshue ketu, okarandi fapo. O himefuta, otadirandi fapo nde imariwa, itaiganja ka kwa shiwana, itaporere kwa shiwana, opori kupithe kwa shiwana.
The candidate is President Agrigengo for the Swapo Party and the Republic of Namibia. Viva the Republic of Namibia! Viva! Aluta Continua! Thank you very much.
Ye omona wakarunga, ye akutu mangurura, wapamwati okushekwa, Yesu nayo pashekewe, ye omona wakarunga, ye akutu mangurura. Yamo ye kurano yati, Yesu mona wakarunga, rompero mamanya, dashituki.
Gleaming tusks were the prize, and sweating slaves, sold by their own kings and chiefs in the ceaseless tribal wars, or seized by slavers.
Great for slave. It was the Africans who did it. And before the Europeans even landed here, slavery was already in the system. It was slaves that worked in the palaces for the kings.
I thought it was more, even at that time, than just money. It had to be just something else that drove them to just kill these people.
Yeah, why brutalize them like that?
Why brutalize? But then again, I guess that's justification, rationalization. If you brutalize it, then you have to say to yourself, there's no way we as a Christian people could brutalize other humans, so they can't be humans.
But did it surprise you when you found out that Africans were involved as well as middlemen?
I knew that Africans were involved. I didn't know the extent to what they were involved. And I also didn't know that once they found out what was going on here, and I know that they had to know what was going on here, that they stayed a willing participant in it. That's the crazy part of it.
I think I was surprised and hurt and angry and everything because, these were people that, I sort of had a fantasy about them and as our ancestors, and your ancestors don't sell you. So that fantasy was sort of blown away. And
the dirtiest secret in African American history is that a surprisingly high percentage of the free Negroes in the South owned slaves themselves. And some of them owned, we explain it away by saying, oh, but they only own their mother, or they only own, they own their mother, they own their sister, they own their wife, and they own some other workers too. A surprisingly high number owned workers who they did not liberate.